On this beautiful Sunday evening, it's Sunday, November 6th, 2022, and tonight it's Sunday Connection. When I'm picking themes, I like to really dive into something that is currently being processed or a learnings and an interaction with my children. And I decided that this week would talk about death and loss and finding gratitude through it, because of it, and holding space for those that may be processing the loss of a loved one, whether recently or in the past. Here on this channel, this is a home. Welcome home. This is a safe and judgment-free space, as best as I can offer, for anybody struggling with mental health, addiction, or any life challenges. Home is Within You is a memoir, and it's a story of recovery and redemption. And the title evolved through years and years of recovery and hard work and relapses, treatment, jail, hospitalizations, and blessed to grow and learn through each challenge. The unfolding and the discovery of a space within me that is free of shame, that is able to then stand tall and strong when there is shaming from others. That space I call a home within me. And everyone can find that as long as we slowly become aware that we are not a body. We are not the thoughts our mind makes. We are all infinite beings, whole, perfect, and complete. And in this finite life, we were given a mind to help us survive. Yet often it separates us from our true selves and from each other in the form of fear and judgments. And so the most basic place to start, often in recovery, is to recognize shame. And for ourselves to create a safe space within us that is free of it. So if you are struggling, please let me know, because I can hold space for anybody that is particularly struggling. Let me know. As I mentioned, this week's theme will be about finding gratitude in loss. And so the daily postings will have reflections as well as personal learnings and stories, so that maybe you can connect with either the pain of loss, the fear of it, or whatever may be coming up when I mention loss. You know, the holidays are coming up. And it's often during this time of year that we pause and reflect on current relationships with family, with friends, with loved ones. And often memories of those that have passed come up. And we reminisce, we want more time. We desire to make more memories and there's this sense of longing. This Saturday, November 12th, is the 28th anniversary of my father's sudden death. And whenever November arrives, I know it's particularly hard for my mother. I was with her earlier today, as well as one of my brothers, and there was a lot of pondering and kind of our preparation for holding space for my mom. And no matter how much time has passed, the pain is just as intense, because I don't think we've ever provided the proper space as a family to openly discuss how it meant individually, what it means individually, as well as even for my mother. And I do believe that families need to talk about, people need to talk about death. Why is it even such a scary word to say? I was afraid to make it the theme, to write death. Who would look at that and, be excited to read postings about it? Yet there is so much wisdom and learnings and connection with the truth of what we are when we can face it and embrace the fact that this finite life is limited in time. My father was my hero, is my hero. An orphan field worker that overcame multiple challenges and worked his tail off and his butt off to become one of the first Spanish-speaking attorneys in the state. He was my hero, and he died suddenly of a heart attack at the very beginning of my second year of law school. And I just kept going. Didn't mourn the loss then, and would play music as I drove back and forth from Santa Ana to law school, having moved back with my mom to help her out. The only space that I found was literally playing certain songs in the car and crying alone. And the songs reflected this lack of belief in hope and justice in the world and good and light in the world, because that's what he represented to me. And lo and behold, all along, the light and the warmth were right there within me and all around me. And eventually I refused to say goodbye to my father. And my mind used to beat me up for being in denial of his death, because I felt his presence around me all the time. And now I don't beat myself up. Less than 5 years after my father abruptly passed away, 3 years after, I lost my best friend in front of me. 5 years after, I suffered a near-death car accident and experience. And I wasn't breathing when they found me for I don't know how long. 22 broken bones, a punctured lung, my brain bled, and I was on life support. That experience cannot be put into words, and I do the best I can in the book. Yet it was a space where time isn't linear. Past, present, future all merged into one, and it was just clarity and souls passed before that I didn't recognize, and then I knew them. And so I know when I speak about death that my experience with it is unique, and in no way, shape, or form do I wish to diminish one's physically yearning and missing somebody that may have passed on to another life. When I say I can feel my Father's Spirit around me and that I have seen and know of a life beyond this, I'm simply wanting to shed hope and light and love onto you in knowing that our true selves is not this physical form. And that if we are mourning, if we are missing a loved one, that we can connect to their spirit. And it will provide an overwhelming source of gratitude when you have that connection. And during this holiday season, there's a lot of meaningful questions that we could ask each other when we are with family that can build connection between each other, because pain and loss between loved ones that have lost a loved one is a shared feeling. And it can be a bridge for connecting with those that are living. So reminisce, share stories, share your memories, share your longings, cry, laugh. How do we process physical loss during this holiday season? We can honor them by putting photos up, again, by sharing stories, by processing the pain calling us as them calling us to connect. Their spirits are calling us to connect, to feel the pain of the loss. And by feeling and diving in and not denying that pain, you will feel their spirit and have a sense of warmth. Don't fight the tears. Let them flow, let them out. And please share here in comments or direct message me if you are mourning somebody as the holiday seasons come up. If there's a reason that they do come up, because that's when families gather. You're not alone in that mourning. And together we can meditate and find that space where you can connect with their spirit. The role that gratitude can play when in moments of painful longing are vast. If there was a good relationship with the person that has passed away, there are stories that can be shared with either our children or with others. And there is an aura in memory of that person that is strong and positive. If the relationship was not so good, we can have gratitude for how we might be doing things differently. There can be gratitude in regret, to not repeat the same mistake. We can dwell on a regret, or we can learn from it and start to do things differently. So gratitude in connecting with the Spirit as well as the learnings. Physical loss and the longing for a loved one who has passed on is a powerful bridge to connecting to our true selves and their infinite spirit. The longing and the missing and the pain that jabs us in our hearts is the bridge. No matter how scary it might seem and be to sit in the pain of what could have been, allow it to flow and feel it. That's their spirit calling you. Today, when I was at my mom's and my brother was sharing his last interactions with my father that I was completely unaware of, and I was so overjoyed. I was so overjoyed because I did not know that my brother had peace. And he shared with me how the last 2 years of my father's life, I don't know why this makes me so emotional, how my father had talked to him about, making music together and creating a space for my brother Luke to do his art. Luke is a magnificent fine artist and now a professor of art. And when my parents had moved to a home in Santa Ana, they were only there for a short time before my father abruptly died. They had plans of turning a separate little space there into an art studio where, separate from my brother's teachings at a university as an art teacher, he could continue his fine art. And then they talked about making music together. And then he told me that one time that he called my mom. My dad was in the background and he said, "Can I talk to Dad?" And my father got on the phone and said, "Well, when am I going to see my son?" And was, excited and ecstatic to connect with him. And just to simply hear those words from my father, "When am I going to see my son?" And this excitement, there's 7 children. I'm the youngest of 7 in a 9-year span. And so hearing things like that from our parents are gems. And so I was so happy today that my brother had this peace and this connection and this eye-to-eye connection with music and art with my father. And so today, there's gratitude in doing the art and in playing the music. My father's spirit is right there with him. It lives on through him. And it can enliven, it can instill different artistic ideas. Just because somebody has physically passed away does not mean any of their influence or auric inspiration has gone away. In fact, it's that much more powerful. When we close our eyes and we think of somebody that we love that is still physically alive, we have a set of feelings, emotions, sensations, and we sense them That is their aura. That is their spirit. So why is it that when somebody physically passes, or we are physically separated, that is any less powerful? When the pain is calling you in loss and mourning, that is their spirit calling you. That is the bridge. That is the bridge to connect to our true existence, which is not physical. It's not finite. It is unlimited. So as I enter this week, I will process pain of loss. And in doing so, have gratitude for the presence of spirits of the ones that have passed here with me today. And you know what else can be done to honor those that have passed? Is to honor your own sacredness. Those that have passed are all around us and want nothing more than to see us blossom and bloom. So by honoring our own innocence and sacredness, no matter what anybody has said or done, no matter what label, branding, sentence, anything that has been placed upon you, they see your true selves. I see your true self. Honor that. We are whole, perfect, and complete in our infinite selves. We are not bodies nor the thoughts our mind makes. And we can find gratitude during times of pain when we are missing a loved one by connecting with their spirit and by honoring the sacredness of our true selves. Please look out for postings this whole week. Please join me on Thursday at 10 a.m. Kundalini Yoga for free. And also on Friday, Spiritual Advocacy, where my oldest son Diego or my brother and I will have a discussion. I'm sending blessings, and I'm encouraging anybody who might be struggling to reach out for help here. And also, please share your stories of loss. Please share memories, or please just simply share how you're having a hard time. And most of all, don't beat yourself up for hurting, for longing. Ban any shame of self and shaming of others who may be struggling due to the death of a loved one. You are not alone. You can recover. And blessings to all. Have a beautiful week.